Good morning, Year 6, and welcome to the final week before half term. I hope you had a good week and a good weekend. Recording this on Sunday evening, so obviously you'll get this on Monday morning, and we'll talk about the week's learning. I think we'll start by saying that a lot of the week's learning will be about Mary Anning, who we haven't really mentioned in this topic yet, but she was very instrumental and very influential in the evolutionary topic, a very famous paleontologist, and there's a reading comprehension about her, and then a video I've put a link to and some websites, and it'd be good to find out a little bit more about Mary Anning, one of the scientists that was kind of neglected, I don't know if neglected is the right word, but underappreciated when she was first, when she first started to discover fossils and did fossil hunting. So you'll find about Mary Anning. Right, we'll move on to looking at our quiz this week, based again on First News. So same as normal, here comes the quiz. Right, same as normal, Year 6, basing this week's quiz on First News, and you have to answer all the questions, and the first letter of each of your answers forms a word. If you could put the word onto the Year 6 blog, that would be great. So here we go with the quiz. So the first question is, and this week I'm going to make it slightly harder. I'm not going to tell you which section of the newspaper each question comes from, so you've really got to read carefully the newspaper to see what each question get the answer to each question. So here we go with the first question. In Japan, what is the name of the long-running animated TV series that has had to take a break for the first time since 1969 due to the coronavirus pandemic? So there's an animated series been going since 1969, makes it 50 years old, as old as me, and it's had to take a break. So what's the name of that long-running animated series? And get the first letter, and that'll form part of the quiz. Right, next question. There's a special report in the newspaper about a very different Ramadan this year. Usually Muslims tend to gather together to eat when it's not daylight, obviously. They fast during the day, but many Muslims are not, unfortunately, able to meet with their families at this moment in time. So what's the religion called that Muslims come from? So what is the religion called? Some of you will probably know that without even looking at it in the newspaper. But anyway, here we go. Right, next one. This question is about, on the 20th of May, there's a law that is changing, and it's called the Max and Kira's Law, after two very, very special people, and it's a law about something donation. So if you check the newspaper out for Max and Kira's Law, it's coming into force on the 20th of May. What is it to do with? It's to do with, well, donation, and what kind of donation, okay? Right, the next question is about, you'll find this actually near the front of the newspaper, so there is one where I've given you a hint as to where to find it, and it basically talks about the fact that the newspaper First News surveyed children, and they've spoken to, or at least got the answers from over 1,100 children as of the time when it went to press, and they asked their readers whether they preferred learning at school or at home, and you have to find out what percentage stated they preferred learning at home. So what percentage was it? And then take the first letter from that as part of your answer. Right, two more questions to go. There's an ambitious, you have to look hard to find this in the newspaper actually. It's only a small little article, okay? But it talks about an ambitious project in South Scotland where they're going to be buying 10,000 acres of land to form a nature reserve. What is the name of the initiative? So it's called the Something Initiative, okay? And again, take the first letter of that to help form the word. And the final question is, again, it's only a small little section in the newspaper. You'll have to look carefully to find it. It says on Friday the 8th of May, it was the 40th anniversary of something, and it was the 40th anniversary of the end of what? So it's actually the Friday 8th of May 2020, it was the 40th anniversary of the end of something, which isn't often you commemorate or celebrate an anniversary, but actually if you look at it, it's actually quite a good thing to celebrate, if you like, or at least commemorate. So the 40th anniversary, the end to what? So good luck on the quiz this week. Slightly more tricky because you've got to look in all the sections. I'm not telling you which section they're in, and good luck on that one. I look forward to seeing your answers on the blog. Right, Year 6, I thought I'd do a mental maths little tester. Not on Star Wars or Forest this week, not in Forest. I thought I'd do a little bit on Mary Anning, inspired by Mary Anning, okay? So bear with me, a little story here for Mary Anning, okay? If I can find it here. Here we go. All right, so there's a little girl called Mary who lives in Lyme Regis, and she's inspired by Mary Anning. She's named after Mary Anning, and she wants to be a paleontologist when she's older. So she goes and speaks to her mum and says, can we go down the beach, collect some fossils? So mum says, all right, okay, we'll go down the beach now that we can have a little bit more time out of the house and not just 1 hour's daily exercise. So they go down the beach, and it's not too far because it's Lyme region. Right, anyway, on with the maths problem. They go down the beach, and Mary collects 400 fossils. 400 fossils. She puts 10% of those fossils in her bag. Of the remaining fossils, she then gives 5% of them to her brother, and then scatters the rest back onto the beach because her mum says she can't keep all the fossils. So she collects 400 fossils. She puts 10% of these in her bag. Then of the remaining number of fossils, she gives 5% of those to her brother and scatters the rest on the beach. And the question is, how many fossils did she leave behind and scatter on the beach? So good luck on that one. I've got the answer right in front of me here, so I hope I've got it correct. And I look forward to your answers on the blog when you put them on later on. Right, Year 6. In terms of learning, as I said earlier, just about Mary Anning is one of the people I'd like you to look into this week. So there's a comprehension and choose your level, 1, 2 or 3 stars. Don't do all 3 of them. I know one person did once, but you just have to do one of them. Choose your level, and that's the reading comprehension. And then for writing, once you've done a bit of research about Mary Anning, there's a video link on our Year 6 weekly plan and also a couple of suggested websites. Once you've done a bit of research about her, then the choice is yours in terms of writing. So I've suggested that possible things you could do is diary. What else? You could possibly do it as though it's a narrative, sort of non-fiction based narrative, only a short story, mind you, but from the point of view of either Mary Anning, so either first person point of view or third person point of view. There's other suggestions that you could do. For example, you could do a biography, although we have done that quite recently, obviously. You could also, this is an interesting one for some of you might want to do a letter of complaint as to why her initial discoveries weren't acknowledged and all the male scientists took the credit. Basically, the choice is yours, Year 6. So I look forward to seeing some of your work on the Year 6 blog. If you want to send me a draft in the middle of the week, I'll be very happy to have a look at it and suggest some improvements, etc. And I look forward to the piece of writing about Mary Anning. Right, Year 6, in terms of maths this week, it's basically the last week we're going to do on theme park maths. So it's up to you how much of the rest of the activities you want to do. There are up to 20 activities, I think. Some of them obviously take longer than others. But basically, it would be good to see if you can get some of it done at least. And what's interesting, the next 2 activities are about what the government takes from your business. So taxes and insurance, because that's quite realistic, because you do have to pay taxes if you make a profit in business. And then obviously another one, which is relatively realistic, is that you would have to pay interest on your loan. So you obviously, if you remember, you borrowed 500,000 to begin with. Well, the bank wants some of it in interest, basically. So you don't get money for nothing in this world. So the first season, you didn't have to pay any money on your loan, but from the second season and the third season, you would have to pay some interest. I think it's 11%. But don't quote me on that. You'll have to look at it on the theme park maths, which I haven't got in front of me, and do the calculations on that for your initial loan and see how far you get. So some of you might reach the end where you'll go into your third season and you have to look at all the costs of everything and the charges that you might do, the entry charges, entry fees, and how much you might make on the park, and then go through the insurance and the tax again and the interest on your loan and come up with a final figure. So how much, once you paid off your loan, and the interest on it, how much you have left in bank. So good luck with that. And as I said, it's the last week we're doing it, and see how far you get with it, but there's no obligation to finish it. So finally, just want to say Year 6, stay safe, and I look forward to seeing a lot of your learning on the blog. I hope some of you had a chance to look at the home learning collage page on the, which is generally for any learning that people have done at home for the different year groups, but it's a nice way of celebrating the things that we do, and it keeps growing every week, and I do love adding to it, and some of your work is there, so see if you can spot it under the learning banner. It's called Home Learning. So there we go. All right, so stay safe, and I will speak to you or communicate to you via the blog, as will Mrs. Rennie. Okay, bye-bye.